There's water. Do you need some water? We started working, remember we had in the blue boxes, we had the mission, vision, venture, description, and your value proposition. This is how we started at the beginning of our program. I haven't turned that on.
I did.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And then we moved into some of the marketing pieces of customer and segment partners. This is where we were doing our market research. And then we had the different channels, which is part of your business model of what was going on. Your marketing strategy we talked about last week. You did your financial piece in class 5, so you should be able to talk about what your financial strategy is, what your revenue streams are, what your costs are. You've been looking in those, working in that Excel spreadsheet. That's part of, we are a healthy bunch. Hopefully throughout this process you've been thinking about some of your milestones. What do you need to do to actually succeed in getting your venture going? What about your prototype and all of that? So these are all things that probably for you are somewhat blank, although some of them should have been filled out a little bit because we started on all of them. But this is now maybe making sense that this is kind of your business plan. These are all the different pieces that we've talked about in all of these classes, and it's an opportunity not for you to try and make something fit into a little tiny box. That's not the challenge here, but it is to get you to remember that you've done all of the pieces that you need to help work on your prototype, start to test and refine your different business model strategies, your revenue stream strategies, understanding how your cost impacts your pricing, which impacts your marketing, which impacts your customers, so you see that all of this stuff is completely related. So this is a reminder that the only reason that you do that is for yourself and for others who are trying to help you. So for you all, it may be that this little model, and I don't mean this piece of paper filled out, but all of those pieces together are going to be meaningful to people who are interested in investing in you, who are interested in partnering with you from an external perspective. For us in crafts, all of us, when you think about it, all the different pieces are really the business plan of the Berea College Crafts program. We've got new products being designed, we've got new retail strategies, new wholesale strategies, new outreach strategies. That's like a business plan. And for each of you all, you've been working on prototypes and thinking this piece through that should be giving you all that same thing. It's a business plan for how you move forward with some important information that if Tim has to go make a presentation to the president of the college, and we hope he doesn't have a shoulder problem when he does that, he would have all this data now that he can use to say, oh, look, we have this whole model. And for each of you, when you go into your next set of classes through the Kaufman Fast Track program, which I think has a new name, but I don't remember what it is. Do you guys remember what it is? Dan, it's okay. Danny mentioned it, and I hadn't heard the phrase, but he's gone. He'll be back. But you have so much more information that allows you to think about, how do I get a loan? If I want to get a loan, I now have all the pieces that a banker or Mason or other personal folks who you may know who might be interested in investing in your business will want to know that you've thought about. You've thought about your customer. You've thought about your costs. You've got your pricing strategy underway. All of those pieces have now come together. Now, for yourself and for all of us, it's important for us too, because the whole purpose is for us to succeed. So if we don't know what we've learned from this process, that's trouble, because this should all be informing us more about thinking about how our products are being designed, what our future looks like, how we're developing different markets and channels along the way. So it's really important for you. Now, if you don't find this information valuable, that's fine. But it's going to be a struggle to keep developing your business if you aren't actually looking at all of these different pieces. So for you all now, instead of imagining, this being your business plan, the question for you now is, what is actually meaningful for you? So remember how in the first class, one of the things that I mentioned was the presentations that we're going to be doing are designed for you as well. If you are never going to go get a loan, then you shouldn't make a presentation as if you're going to go get a loan. That doesn't make a lot of sense. So same thing for your actual business plan. What makes sense for you? One of our very first Evolve participants was an environmental artist named Lynn Hull, and that was her business plan, because for her, there really was data in there besides that cardboard and some pictures, but for her, the entire process of the business plan had to be eco-friendly, had to be from reusable materials, had to be about what it felt like for her and what it meant. So it was important to her that that work for her and her business model. So for you all, this is something not to answer tonight, but for you to think about what's going to be most helpful for you. Some of you are like numbers and spreadsheet hounds, and you love that, the linear way of thinking. So maybe your business plan needs to be a lot about numbers and being able to track how things are working for you. For some of you, it may be more along these lines, where you've got some vision boards that are explaining where you're trying to go, and hopefully you have some very specific metrics and data and financial analysis in there, but maybe they're graphs. Maybe they're not just spreadsheets. Maybe it's a visual picture of where you're trying to go with your customers, where you're trying to go with your financials. So take the next 5 minutes. We're on page, I closed the book. We're on page 7? We're on page 7. So take a couple of minutes, and you've got 3 different little things to think about. How are you going to use it? That's the first place you should think, is how are you going to use this plan? Then what do you have that's done, and what do you need to work on? So this is just a checklist for you as well. Where do you need to spend your energy depending on how you're going to use this? So for all of us in crafts, I know this is something that you can think, imagine how the college might respond to us if we're asking for a different budget. For you all, think about how, if you want to have a new studio once you leave Gallery 123, who do you need to talk to? You need to talk to a landlord, you need to talk to a bank, who knows? But for you all, it's all going to be different, but think about what you need. It may be totally personal, maybe just for you right now. All right, and go.